Welcome to the #1 commentary channel on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. We are live with another episode, and this time more unique than often is we usually do strictly just MMA or strictly boxing, but because there have been some big events that have happened in the sport of boxing, and maybe Showtime is out the door as well too. Nonetheless, Canelo gets the win against Charlo, and also I kind of wanted to preview UFC 294 because I think that's a big card, and I think there's plenty of subjects in order to cover in that department. But Canelo defeats Charlo. What does this do for his legacy? And who should he fight next? Whether it's Benavidez, Crawford, the Bivol rematch, or someone else. We can also touch a bit on, which we plan to, is has MMA finally surpassed boxing? We keep revisiting this one, but there were a couple tweets from some MMA fans that may be arguing, listen, MMA is just bigger. If you're on TikTok, head over to youtube.com/MillerDC for a live stream commentary. And we're going to be accepting live callers, which will be at 267-545-8096. We'll be talking, we'll be debating on who wins between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev, and my pick might surprise you if you haven't been here before, but I would love to have that debate as well too, guys. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. And one of the final topics as well too is I know Oliveira got dominated by Islam in the first fight, but a key point is that Volkanovski had a debatable with Islam Makhachev. Does that mean that Oliveira sees some holes in the game of Islam Makhachev where he can capitalize on? And will the second fight, will the outcome be any different? Let's catch up with chat quickly. Hollywood Hito in the chat, welcome to the stream. I see Chris Faith in there, says, hey, yo. Jesus M says, saludos. I would love to see what Jesus thinks about the Charlo and Canelo fight. I know you're big and avid boxing fan as well as MMA. Hollywood Hito says, I'm good. How are you? Miller starting on time. What a miracle. I mean, I'm new and improved, man. We're growing the stream quickly. If you're on TikTok.com, go to youtube.com/MillerDC, where we're doing a live show as we speak over there. So head on over there. Jesus says, Canelo, and that wasn't a robbery, by the way, Hito. But Jesus says, Canelo versus Crawford or Benavidez versus Andrade, winner in 2024 of May. Well, you heard what Canelo had to say. One of the first remarks that he said in his post-fight interview was, Jim Gray asked him in the post-fight interview right after the Charlo fight, he asked him, what's next for you? And Canelo says, I don't know who it is, but he made two important claims. Number one, he gave us an official date. The next time he plans to be in the ring is in May 5th, Cinco de Mayo of 2024. And the second thing that I think is highly important is Jim Gray says, what about Benavidez? Which I commend Jim Gray, because sometimes interviewers, they get a little weird, a little worried on asking direct questions. He simply asked, and I guess it's because he also knows that's the name that we're most excited for. I believe that's unanimous as far as the fighter that most fans, even if you're a Canelo fan or you could even be a Canelo hater, the next fight you want to see, I'm assuming, as far as who you want to see the dance partner against Canelo be, that would be David Benavidez. I think the fans are pretty unanimous on that, and that's what Jim Gray had to ask. He said, how about David Benavidez. And in true Canelo fashion, what does Canelo say? Canelo goes on and says, I don't give a who it is. Nobody, and this is the second claim. Number one, Cinco de Mayo. Number two, the biggest claim I thought he said is that nobody beats this version of Canelo Alvarez. My question to you guys is, Canelo Alvarez being 33 years old, I guess the argument could be Charlo was naturally the smaller guy, but nonetheless, there were claims that were made against Canelo that we have been hearing over the over months and months. If you're new here, also hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. There have been claims that have been repeated over and over again. Canelo's not the same fighter as he was once before. He doesn't have maybe that pop in his punches. He doesn't have maybe he doesn't have the quick reflexes, or he's just a lesser version of himself as far as his prime. He might not be as sharp as he was when he fought Amir Khan, Miguel Cotto, Kirkland, where he was granted a vicious knockout, right? Daniel Jacobs, even the Kovalev fight where he finished him off in the 11th round, you could say maybe he was slowing down a bit then. We find ourselves in 2023. After he loses to Bivol, right? That's where immediately people said, oh, this guy's not the same. Then he beats John Ryder in a unanimous decision after beating Gennady Golovkin, but Gennady was a shell of himself. But that John Ryder fight, most people were impressed. So my prediction was, as far as the Canelo fight versus Charlo, I said I would love to see Charlo win. I would love to see Charlo win, because if Charlo wins, the narrative couldn't be any better as far as Crawford Charlo for three weight division undisputed bout. Because if Crawford gets it done, you might have to sneak him in the top 10 pound for pound. I really wanted to see Charlo pull it off. My worry was jumping up in weight divisions. Canelo going out there to prove, not that he has to prove, his legacy and his career is cemented already, but I believed that he would go out there and try to make a statement. And that's what we saw. Canelo usually doesn't start off that hot. He usually doesn't start off that quick. Out the gate, he was looking to be aggressive. Out the gate in the first round, he was adamant on walking forward, pressing forward, and going after Charlo. But, you know, he doesn't necessarily fight that way. But he does this time. And from the opening bell, Charlo was retreating. I thought to myself, listen, Canelo gets a little bit overzealous. He gets a little bit too aggressive. Charlo is going to pop him with that vintage left hook that he has, with that straight right hand down the middle. He landed some beautiful left hooks, straight right hands, even hooks to the body. He was landing the jab even early a bit. But from what I could remember, there wasn't a single time in that fight. And if you're on TikTok, head over to youtube.com/MillerDC. We'll be doing live call-ins at 267-545-8096. From the opening bell, no matter what Charlo landed, it almost seemed as though Canelo was unwavered, kept walking forward, kept landing the more significant strikes. And round after round, he was winning them. I think there was maybe one round in the early in the fight where you might be able to debate Charlo had a chance, or not even a chance, where he won a round. Then in round number 7, he lands a right hook over the top, and it just seemed like Charlo didn't want to take any more punishment in that very moment, and he goes down on one knee. And I thought to myself, as far as watching it live, I made a prop bet where I said this is going to end in the 11th, and I thought to myself, this might end earlier. Credit to Charlo, being the veteran that he is. Remember, he was undisputed champ as well too. Credit to him, he was able to weather the storm, not necessarily slow down Canelo, but be good enough defensively where it was hard for Canelo to find another big shot, and he wasn't able to do so. That would hurt Charlo. Yes, he landed some big shots afterwards, landed some nice uppercuts down the middle. Canelo looked vintage form. My question to you guys is, and I would love to debate it, I would love to have a back and forth about it. My question to you is, Would Canelo back in 2019, would a Canelo back in 2020, 2017, maybe the Canelo immediately after the Mayweather loss back in what was that, 2012? Would a Canelo of the past, that was 2013 by the way, September 14th, so I was a year off. With a Canelo of the past, would he have won by knockout? If you're new here, or if you're a subscriber, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the video. Would a Canelo of the past won by knockout? Or is Charlo good enough where it doesn't matter what version of Canelo was in there, doesn't matter the year, doesn't matter the weight class, whether Canelo went a little bit more down to fight in, maybe Canelo doesn't find the knockout. Is Charlo just that good? And what does this say about Canelo's legacy? Let's catch up with chat a little bit. Canelo won't fight Crawford, says Hito. He said it wasn't in the plans, but I would love to see him fight Benavidez. That's my first pick, Hollywood Hito. I would love to see that more than anything. I think David Benavidez presents some physical attribute wise, some troubles for Canelo Alvarez, especially him being a high volume puncher as well too. Then again, punches are coming back at Benavidez if he's letting his hands go that much, and Canelo could land some counter punching. That's exactly what he likes to do anyways. Canelo versus Crawford or Benavidez or Andrade winner in May 2024, says Jesus M. We'll see who wins between Benavidez and Andrade. I have Benavidez winning, of course, but we shall see what the options are. Chris Faye says, damn, like first HBO discontinued with boxing back in 2018 and now Showtime. Now DAZN and ESPN have boxing. Well, you also got to remember PBC, which is, I guess, on ESPN. A lot to cover. And I think we got some voicemails, but I just will say I'm gonna open the phone lines in a bit. But if you want to leave a voicemail or if you want to call in live, let me know in chat. But I will leave it on Do Not Disturb so you can leave a voicemail for now. But 267-545-8096 if you want to share your thoughts on whether Canelo is the face of boxing. Jesus M says, does Canelo Benavidez sell more than Tank and Ryan on Cinco de Mayo is another great question. That's a great question. He thought, I'll be honest. We'll be talking about that in a second. Let me see what Jesus says as well too. Let us be honest. Any version of Canelo doesn't beat Benavidez or Bivol. Wow. Let me actually let me start a poll in the chat. Canelo versus Benavidez, who wins? Canelo by decision, Benavidez by decision. Let's add two more options. If you're on TikTok, head over to youtube.com/MillerDC. We're doing a live stream on there. We're going to be accepting live callers. Benavidez versus Benavidez by KO. So that poll is asked already on YouTube. Canelo can't KO everybody. I mean, that is impossible for any boxer. Chris Faye says, guys, why are you guys all asking about Canelo versus Bivol too? Bivol needs to fight Artur Beterbiev, who's one of the current light heavyweight champions in boxing, and he's a dangerous fight as well too. And the money grab, I guess you could say easily, is Canelo, if that's what Bivol is kind of focused on. Nonetheless, I think we have some voicemails, but I will tell you right now that the phone lines are open. 267-545-8096 if you want to debate whether Canelo is the face of boxing. But let's quickly at least head back to. Let's go back a little bit to a question that I actually really like. Starting to get a little bit colder out here. The chap lips are crazy right now. Hito says, does Canelo and Benavidez sell more than Tank and Ryan on Cinco de Mayo? Which is going to help me head into my next topic as well too. But how much did Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, how much did they sell? They sold a whopping let me move this over a little bit. A 1.2 million pay-per-view by statistic is what we have. when we talk about Benavidez and Charlo, 1.2 million, whether they'll exceed that, let's talk about it, guys. I already left 2 voicemails. Thank you so much, Chris Faith. I'll make sure I go back to that. But if anybody wants to call in live, I'll do that as well too. Chris Faith says Arthur is a better opponent for Bivol, and stop saying Bivol should fight Canelo because all you guys are afraid of Bivol or Arthur. Beef. Just stop it with Canelo and Bivol. I would stop it if Canelo didn't want that fight, but that has been from his very own mouth the fight that he wants next. That has been what he has said. I want Canelo or I want Bivol next. Speaking of Arthur or speaking of Canelo Alvarez, let's play the first voicemail though. Let's go right to it. Here we go. Let me actually, it sounds a little low. Let me make sure I raise up the volume and we hear you loud and clear. Here we go. Let me rewind a little bit. Put the volume up. And the first caller is Chris Faith calling in today. Let's see what we have.
Hello, this is Chris Faith talking. Just wanted to let you know, I saw a fight. As I predicted, it ended in unanimous decision by Canelo Alvarez. A Charlo guy.
Interesting you say that because I guess you foresaw that it would go to a decision. I picked 11th round knockout for Canelo. And when that first knockdown happened, I thought to myself, listen, this might end sooner than I imagined. Credit to Charlo. He was able to weather the storm and last a full 12. But was he fighting just to survive? Should have he went for broke? Is another question I have for you guys, but nonetheless, let's continue.
I was ass. People saying, what's next for Canelo since he won? A lot of people are rooting for him versus Bivol rematch. I'm like, no. Bivol needs to fight that light heavyweight championship guy who's undefeated. I can't pronounce his name right.
Beterbiev.
His first name is
or
Arthur.
Beterbiev is the easier way to pronounce it.
Something like that. But no. So Canelo, he needs to fight David, but apparently David is fighting some guy named Andrade in November.
Yep.
Which I believe if he wins.
And I hope I'm pretty sure that's on DAZN. I'm hoping it is because then it'll be free. I hope it's not DAZN pay-per-view, but nonetheless.
He gets to fight Canelo next year. Plus, the rematch was Charles Oliveira versus Islam. Let me say this.
I can't wait to hear what he has to say about Oliveira and Makhachev. Here we go.
And the last time I rooted for Islam. This time I'll be rooting for Charles Oliveira. And the
wow. Logically, I feel like most people, they say, as he headed into the topic of conversation of it being Oliveira and Makhachev out, this time he's rooting for Oliveira. Let's hear why, because I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little bit surprised that that's the path you're taking. Why is that? Let's hear it.
Why? Well, his match.
And if you're on TikTok, head over to youtube.com/MillerDC. We're doing live call-ins, 267-545-806.
Not that good. But no, hear me out. If Charles Oliveira wins, he'll be the first ever 2-time lightweight champion in UFC history. And if he wins, he's won one, meaning him versus Islam Makhachev trilogy fight next year. I know he said he wants to fight Volkan.
I feel like most people haven't mentioned that as well either, Chris Face. So thank you for bringing that up. I mean, I guess maybe that's majorly because everybody's writing off Oliveira. But if Oliveira wins, do you do the trilogy between Makhachev and Oliveira? I know the odds are basically saying Makhachev is going to wash him, but that's a good point as well too. Nobody has brought that up. Trilogy in the making. If Oliveira somehow pulls it off, Makhachev has been knocked out before. Is another. And again, it almost seems like we're going on wishful prayers. But again, if Oliveira gets it done, do you immediately do the trilogy, or do you sneak someone else in there to fight for the title, depending how bad it ends?
Oliveira, but why you want to go down to featherweight and fighting for the featherweight title? No, that doesn't make any sense. Anyways, that's it.
I appreciate the call, Chris Faith. That was a very productive one. And we talked a little bit about Canelo. We talked a little bit about Charlo. You snuck in there and headed over to Oliveira and Makhachev. But before we do that, and we're gonna head over to UFC 294. Before we do that, the boxing versus MMA debate continues, and the reason I bring that up is because we're 22 minutes live already. So let me head over to that. There was a tweet that was made that got 3,469 likes, right? And maybe people don't like this argument, but I did want to talk about it. I think it's an important one that we have to revisit this Monday morning. And that is made by Nina, who you might have seen interview fighters like Sean Strickland, and you saw her rooting for him when he got the win. And she has interviewed plenty of other fighters as well too, the Kevin Hollands of the world and various others. But nonetheless, she makes a tweet. Canelo refuses to call out Benavidez. Canelo called out Plant. Yeah, he says he doesn't give a F who it is, but he just won't say the name Benavidez, it seems like, right? So is he ducking Benavidez? What happens if it actually happens and then he gets the win? It's quite interesting to see that. I'm not saying he's scared to fight Benavidez, but the energy might not feel the same. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to give him too much praise this early if they can't make the fight. Nonetheless, a tweet that was made that I really wanted to address that was brought up in Discord as well too. Let me copy this real quick and let me open something real quick. Give me one second. I forgot to put this on Discord as well. And the reason why I wanted to put it in Discord is because that's where the idea came from. Heading back to it, Nina goes, please name me one boxing card this year that was more entertaining than the UFC main card this year. I can't think of any. The top comment that you see as a response is, please name one boxer begging UFC fighters to fight for a payday. And Nina says, Jake Paul wants McGregor. This character arc of you suddenly hating the boxing community is interesting. It's very interesting how people start saying, oh, you're hating on boxing just because she made an argument of there's not one boxing card this year that was more entertaining than the UFC main card this year. Was Spence versus Crawford more entertaining than any pay-per-view card? Was Charlo versus Canelo? Now, the first thing that I immediately thought was, at the end of the day, boxing. You can criticize it. You can say whatever you want. At the end of the day, Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia sold 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. After their fight was announced to take place in April, it was likely to make a buzz because you have Ryan Garcia being, I'm not saying he's the best Mexican fighter, but as far as appealing to the younger crowd, Garcia has that fan base. Then you have Gervonta Davis, who, after that win against Ryan Garcia, if you guys remember, I'm not saying it wasn't a ludicrous statement, but people were immediately saying Gervonta Davis was now the face of boxing, and they jumped him ahead of Canelo. It's going to be interesting to see how much Charlo versus Canelo sold, because if it's under 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, maybe Gervonta Davis is sneaking into that conversation. Nonetheless, back to the tweet. Please name me one boxing card this year that was more entertaining. And the next very thing I thought, let me ask chat. Let's see if you guys remember. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for this to be disputed even. So Gervonta Davis versus Tank sold 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. Let me ask you guys this, and don't look it up. Please at least do me that favor. Name me a fight that happened on that undercard of Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Does anybody remember offhand? Does anybody remember offhand what fights happened? What card was better than any UFC cards? Because if you didn't look it up and I asked the question, what fights were made between Davis and Garcia on the undercard, I think offhand most people don't remember. They don't know. And that's okay. I'm just throwing that out there. Yes, it sold 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, but when Elijah Garcia versus Zambrano was fighting, all the fans weren't even in attendance. When it was Gabriel Rosado versus Bektamir, there were some fans not sitting in their seats, and it took the Morrell versus Falcao fight, the co-main, which again, I would say the average fan doesn't even know who David Morrell is, for people to start flooding in. Then we go to UFC 296, and on paper, I'm just saying, does boxing, are they putting on any cards that are like this? Edwards versus Covington, Pantoja versus Royval, 2 title fights, one being the welterweight championship fight between Edwards and Covington. I know you can say Covington doesn't deserve it, but nonetheless, that fight is happening. You also have Pantoja versus Royval, the flyweight bout. 2 title fights on one card. Then you have Stephen Thompson, the veteran, who is approaching or near 40 years old, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, fighting the up-and-coming young and hungry Shavkat Rakhmonov, who's undefeated, who had a pretty competitive fight in his last bout. Then you have Tony Ferguson, the veteran, who was supposed to fight Khabib at one point and was supposed to be the quote-unquote toughest fight for Khabib at one point to dethrone him. He's fighting the up-and-comer, who I'm not too high on if you know anything about this channel. He's fighting Paddy Pimblett. Maybe Ferguson is too old, or maybe he's too experienced, and he gets the win against Paddy Pimblett. In boxing, I think it's fair to say you're not getting that level of of card as far as a package. I'm going to open it right now, Hito. So 267-545-8096. But let me play a voicemail first. And I believe it's from Chris Faith, then from you, and then we'll accept the live callers. Let's go to the next live or the next voicemail. Here we go.
By the way, this is Chris Faith speaking. This Saturday is Bellator 300. I know there's a UFC event, but I'm not interested in that UFC event of Dawson versus.
I believe that Bellator card is on Friday. I have my brother's wedding. Won't be able to cover it, but let's see what you have to say.
Green. I'm interested in Bellator 300. That's for a title fight. Let's see. Ryan Bader versus I forgot what was that guy's name. I know they fought years ago, but there's a possibility Ryan Bader might lose. If he does win, he has to face the guy who dethroned him for the light heavyweight championship, the then called in early 2024. And let's see, Cyborg versus Kat Zilgado. I know who Kat Zilgado is. Back all those years ago when she submitted. I mean, when she got submitted by Ronda Rousey like 14 seconds. Possibility she might win, but I'm gonna have to see in a decision. The other fight with what's the name of that fight? What's his name? Oh, Carmouche versus Demon Francis. That was a tough one. I might have to go with Liz Carmouche on that. And the last but not least, Usman Nurmagomedov versus
Usman is a scary fighter, man.
It's Primus, like Cybertron Primus. LOL. I got to go with Usman Nurmagomedov. Still undefeated and still the champ. And Brett Primus retires after he loses the fight. That's all.
No, I respect it. You bringing up the phone lines are open now. 267-545-8096. Bellator 300 is a hell of a card. I'm saddened because all Bellator cards they're on Fridays, and this is gonna be the 1 week where I'm not gonna be able to cover it, which kind of sucks, right? But the card itself, I was looking it over, is not the worst. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Brent Primus, Chris Cyborg versus Zingano, Linton Vassell, who beat Moldavsky, is going to be fighting Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader's last win was against, I think he lost to Corey Anderson and then went on a win streak, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he beat Moldavsky. He beat Fedor, which again, Fedor might be over the hill, and that's fair to say. But nonetheless, he's going to be fighting Vassell, which I think is a great fight. And Vassell is a little bit dangerous. I think Vassell might get the knockout. Nonetheless, that'll be Friday. If I could somehow do like a post-fight thing on that as well too, Chris, I will try to do so. I'll let you know about that in the near future. But I was quite impressed as far as the card that they're making. Bellator, I mean, there's rumblings that they might be sold to PFL, so we'll see what happens there. Nonetheless, thank you for bringing that up. UFC 294, back to Oliveira versus Makhachev. If you have Makhachev winning, feel free to debate it. 267-545-8096. I wanted to head back to that card because that is the next pay-per-view card that'll be distributed, that'll be given by the UFC. And listen, I know this is not the strongest debate point, but is there something, the question for you guys is there something to say that I know Makhachev has been knocked out a long time ago that people may not even remember? His last loss, his only loss, was back in against Adriano that was undefeated at the time. This was back in 2015. People forget about that fight. Nonetheless, Makhachev has been on a tear since then. Look at the names that he has on his resume. Beneil Dariush was canceled, but then ever since then, he's beaten Bobby Green, he beat Oliveira, he beats Volkanovski. But touching back to that Volkanovski fight, that is one of the first times besides 2015 where he has looked human, where he has looked beatable. What he did to Oliveira, he completely washed him. He got a head and arm choke, or arm triangle choke back in the second round. And Oliveira looked, I don't even know if you could say a shell of himself. Oliveira just looked like the lesser man that day. Ever since, Oliveira has been saying, that wasn't me. I'm going to come back, and at UFC 294, you're going to see that I'm going to display my skills, my talents, and I'm going to beat Islam Makhachev. I don't know if we can be convinced of that, but the smaller man, the natural 145 pounder in Volkanovski, looked very good against Islam Makhachev. Arguably even won that fight, you can say. Especially if you rewatch that fight, I even said it live. Makhachev and Volkanovski, that fight could have gone either way. The reason why I truly believe that that many felt that Volkanovski won is because in that fifth round, specifically that last minute and a half, when Makhachev finds himself on his back and Volkanovski is somewhat raining hammer fist, you see the expression in Makhachev's face where he looks a little bit worried, has a knot under his eye, and the smaller man is sort of having his way as far as Makhachev looks winded. Volkanovski is raining down punches. The fight ends. The conversation at that very moment was, if Volkanovski has one more minute, if Volkanovski had even 30 more seconds to a minute in that fight, Makhachev was tired enough where Volkanovski might have been able to finish him. Now you add to the equation that the very next fight for Makhachev is someone who he has beaten before. That being Charles Oliveira. And the point that I wanted to make and the topic that I wanted to have at hand, Volkanovski is arguably the number one pound for pound fighter. I will agree. Oliveira got dominated by Makhachev. You add to the equation. I don't know how I hear myself. Next fight for Makhachev is someone who he has beaten before.
Here's a 609.
That being
to accept.
That being Charles Oliveira. Hito, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I hear myself. I don't know why. Okay, I think we're good. What? I don't know what the heck just happened there. I was gonna say about the Beneil Dariush fight, whether there's any signs on there on whether Charles Oliveira has a shot. But nonetheless, we have Hito 609 calling in let's see if he has any good points. It's very rare that he does, but we shall see. Hito, welcome to
Number
the
one,
stream.
it's Hollywood Hito now, so get it right. I don't see 609 anywhere in my name, so that's number one. Number two, all right, we got a couple things to touch. You said a lot of stupid things this podcast. It's kind of wild.
Out the gate
all right,
swinging.
so
Okay.
the fact that you said, oh, let's see if Charlo and Canelo sell 1.2 mil. They sell under maybe Tank Davis is slightly taking over the face of boxing. It's the dumbest thing I've heard today. That's the wildest take. It's first of all, number one, that fight doesn't sell 1.2 without Ryan Garcia. Okay, Tank ain't never pulling those numbers unless he's next to Ryan.
That's fair.
Look at social media just right there. Tank got 5 mil. That's off Ryan's clout. Ryan got 10 mil. Ryan dropped a picture last night, got 1 million likes. That guy, if anything, pushed that to be over 1.2. So no, he's not taking Canelo's spot. Nowhere, no time soon.
Okay, let me ask before we even jump forward. Is there any opponent that Canelo could fight that'll push him over 1.2, or there's no chance?
Dude, Benavidez on Cinco de Mayo, that's there, man. I mean, he's had $1 million pay-per-view fights before. Right. So this is the fight everybody wants. Nobody wanted Charlo, and the only reason why some people were excited about Charlo fight is to see if Charlo can win, so that him and Terrence Crawford can make a super fight for of the decade. But other than that, nobody wanted to see him fight Charlo. When that was announced, everybody was mad. So I don't think that does anything for Canelo. But
sadly, I agree with you as far as the weight jump was big. The Charlo fight wasn't as intriguing. But you input. Firstly, let me ask you this: Charlo versus Canelo. What do you think the pay-per-view numbers are going to come in as?
600.
So half of Tank versus Garcia.
Which is great for a fight nobody wants to see. Trust me, Tank's next fight's not even hitting 600. We can put a bet on that.
Wow. You don't think it depends on who he fights? I mean, we've been hearing rumblings of the Isaac Cruz rematch. But,
yeah, he'll fight Isaac Cruz, $300K, easy, max 5.
As you continue to make your horrible takes, let's Gervonta Davis. I mean, I don't think he's gonna fight Haney, Shakur, Lomachenko next. You might be right. It depends. What about a Kambosos fight?
The thing is, they would rather him see. People want him to fight like Shakur next. So it's like I said, when it's a fight nobody wants you to. If it's a fight nobody wants to see, and Canelo's still probably going to do 600K around there, that's how you know you're the face. Because nobody wants to see this fight, really. Tank can go. If he fights Cruz and nobody really wants to see that again, he's going to do like 500K the max.
I know this is super premeditated, but any idea who you think Tank fights next? Like, do you think he cares about his, not legacy, but like he's trying to be the face of boxing, right? So I would assume he's wise enough to know like he needs to fight someone that has some kind of a draw. Do you think he takes that route?
I have some numbers for you for Tank, Mr. Face of Boxing.
Okay. I'm assuming it's a pay-per-view numbers. Yep.
Leo Santa Cruz, 200K. Mario Barrios, 210. Isaac Cruz, 150. Ronaldo Romero, 250. Hector Garcia, 210. He fights Ryan, 1.2 million. You know why that's 1.2 million. That's because he's the face. So if Canelo does those numbers, he can wake up tomorrow, just throw a fight on Twitter and do those type of numbers. That's nothing to Canelo.
Why do you think people are running away with this conversation?
Run away with what conversation? To what?
That Tank might be the new face of boxing.
Who's saying that? You? That's crazy. I don't hear. You heard that after the Ryan fight for about 5 minutes, and then nobody cares about him.
I don't know about that. I don't think if it was just 5 minutes.
It wasn't as long as you thought it was going to be. And you know what people are talking about still to this day is Canelo versus Benavidez, and that's the fight everybody wants to see. Still to this day, you'll see it in your chat. Anytime you bring up boxing, that's the Canelo Benavidez. You're not hearing Tank and Isaac Cruz. Barely Tank and Shakur. It's always Canelo Benavidez. He's the face. It's hands down.
David Reza in the chat says, brother, exclamation point. Canelo fights keep getting boring and boring. If Canelo is still the face of boxing, is there a matter of time before Tank takes over as far as being the face? Because at the end of the day, he won by knockout against Garcia. There are some worthy opponents that he could face. Canelo versus Benavidez might do around 1.2 million, but maybe Canelo's running out of options too, Hito.
Yeah, he's at the tail end. But the thing is, it's his competition. Obviously, the Benavidez is gonna be crazy. That's a legacy fight. But afterwards, it's not his fault. It's his competition's fault.
No, and the numbers that you bring up, they're true. I looked up an article just to verify because I know you could get a little crazy. Leo Santa Cruz 200, Mario Barrios 210, Isaac Cruz 150, Romero 250, Garcia 210, Ryan Garcia 1.2 million. It exceeded it by about a million almost.
And the thing is, if Tank is the face, then why doesn't that represent itself in social media? Because everybody knows, like, you have to build your social media following, which ends up leading to pay-per-view buys. Why is Ryan Garcia double the Instagram followers as Tank? Why is Canelo triple the Instagram followers as Tank?
That's a good point.
All the analytics that people could look into that will eventually get the viewers, the casual people, in to watch a fight. And I know people are like, oh, it's Instagram. I don't care what you say. All this stuff has been studied. It's not done for no reason. Because trust me, half these guys probably wouldn't even want to be on social media. It's an extra job for them.
Caleb Plant was 800K against Canelo. Bivol was 520. Golovkin 3 was 550,000, which I'm surprised it even went that high. John Ryder was around 300K to 400K. So even a fight against John Ryder does better than most of Gervonta Davis's fights.
Tank fought the right guy at the right moment, and he needs to promote himself a little bit better. I'm even giving Terrence Crawford some props on promoting himself, because the guy's at least starting to trash talk a little bit. You know what I mean? That guy, he didn't know how to do that for the first 39 of his fights. So it's like, the Tank has to promote himself a little better. He wants to be this cool secret gangster 5'0" guy from Baltimore, which nobody was probably scared of this little midget running around in the city. And that's the persona he wants to play, so be it, cool. But it's not equal. It's not equal to pay-per-view buys.
No, that's fair. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. And granted, I don't want to get too crazy, but the whole Crawford as well too. He's learning how to trash talk. His resume besides Spence isn't the most impressive. I'm just throwing that out there in the beginning. So for him to be the face of boxing, he still has plenty to do.
Okay, yeah. So then here's the next thing though. You talked about the MMA and the boxing and the Nina this week.
Yep.
Here's what I'll say. MMA, hands down, gives you the best cards, gives you the best bang for your buck. 100%. There's no arguing it. Every single card MMA in comparison to a boxing headlining card, they're going to give you your best. You're not spending $93 on an MMA card. You at least get $40 of those dollars back. You're going to get like $10 of those dollars from a boxing event. The problem is, though, boxing has some banging. Like for this year, boxing had the headliners. Like the main events, though, some of them were crazy. Crawford and Spence was everything you want in a fight. Like, it's everything you wanted in a fight that happened for me personally. They have like the great headliners. The problem is the promoters. There's too many promotions in boxing, and they're all scared of their boxer losing because that equals lost income for them. And you just don't get to see like more and more crazier cards, more and more people testing themselves, wanting to fight the best, because the minute they lose, then they lose everything. And that's the sad spot that we're in for boxing.
I think it's shifting a little bit, but you're right. This year alone, Haney Lomachenko, Spence Crawford, we got Canelo, Charlo. Who else did we get this year too? Or we're gonna get Fury. What's that?
Wasn't Tank Garcia this year?
Yeah, Tank Garcia was this year as well too. This has been a memorable year, but another problem with boxing as well too is like the undercards for all these main events are kind of. Not even kind of, they're just completely overwhelming. David Reza says, I think we have yet to see an upcoming face of boxing boxer. He also says, Ryan Garcia's popularity does not match his ring performance, meaning he has high popularity, but not high performance. I mean, I have to agree with you there,
Lost
but
one
he
time.
does.
He lost one time. What are we talking about? That's what I'm talking about. That's boxing. You lose one time and you're not a boxer. That's the problem with you guys. You guys ruin boxing.
I mean,
You lose one time and you're not a boxer.
I mean, people were saying that he's not that great as far as a boxer, even before losing to Tank Davis. And I think it shows because who has he beaten? So I think that's fair to say that his popularity does not match his ring performance. Would you disagree with that?
No. I think he deserves. There's a combination of like, look, the guy's still up and coming. He's a young fighter, so it's a combination of things. So he can still turn himself to being a great boxer, and that's like the problem with boxing is you guys don't look at the whole thing. You look at it's so one-sided. Yeah, his popularity is big. He worked hard for that. He perfected a sport, a side of the boxing game that your favorite boxers can't perfect. So that's shame on your favorite boxers. And he's also up and coming. And yeah, he lost
time,
and he can still improve. And he can still. It's not like it's not like he's 40 fights in at the tail end of his career. So that doesn't I don't think that translates. And I think that's also the problem with boxing is that people get one loss and then they're really ready to shit on people. Whereas in MMA, like Alexander Volkanovski, you can lose a fight and go up in rankings. You know what I mean?
He also added Derrick James to his resume, so we'll see how it plays out as far as his career. Speaking of Ryan Garcia. So he has plenty of room for improvement. Let's move on to a little bit. Speaking of the UFC, something that I want to kind of focus on a little bit. Oliveira versus Makhachev. If I could quickly steal your thoughts on that as well too.
Yeah, I heard you touch on Volkanovski kind of like showing the blueprint on how to find holes in Islam's game, and it was a debatable fight, and I agree it could have went either way. I wouldn't have been mad at either way, either decision, but Oliveira is not Alexander Volkanovski. So at the end of the day, he's just not. He can study all he wants. He is not that guy, and he's gonna get owned again. I think it might be a little more competitive fight, but no, I think Islam trashes him.
When you say they're not the same, what you mean by that? Because what I think people are saying that maybe people are not focusing on is the simple fact that maybe Volkanovski, his takedown defense is simply just that much better than Oliveira's, and that's why it's able to be a bit more competitive. I don't know if Oliveira could just nullify the takedowns. I know that Volkanovski at least did a really good job at, for the most part, stopping them. And if he's taken down, he does a decent job defending, where maybe just Oliveira is not capable of doing that. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Honestly, and I'm just gonna sit here nobody's stopping Islam. This is the Islam era until another person.
You're not impressed by Beneil, the way Oliveira beat Beneil at all?
No, that's fine. That's I just truly think this is like Islam's era. This is like the era of we're living in the era of wrestlers and grapplers. You know what I mean? This is like hands down. All your up and coming people that are undefeated are coming up. They're wrestlers and grapplers. This striking, trying to submit, judo, that's out the window. This is a wrestling and grappling era, and it's taking the UFC by storm. And you'll see it'll be more and more champions. Very few Sean O'Malley's and more like Aljo's and Islam's. And you're gonna see Kamzat gonna be the next champion.
I don't think that's true actually. So we could debate that eventually. But you don't think Oliveira could have made any adjustments at this point in his career to make it a way more competitive fight? You don't think there's enough time? He doesn't have the skills. Makhachev is that good. No chinks in his armor after the Volkanovski fight. You're giving Oliveira no chance to win.
Zero. Yeah, 0. I will. We have a bet, and we have a bet going on, and for me, it's a pretty serious one. But I don't know how you feel about what happens when you lose, but shaving my beard, I haven't had baby face in 10 years. So
wow.
That's how confident I'm in. I will shave my beard.
Oh man, you're gonna have to call in Discord and you're gonna have to do that live because I. Okay, maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'll be honest. I feel pretty. I don't want to use the word strongly. That's where I was basically saying I might be jumping ahead. I feel pretty damn positive that Oliveira could get the job done.
And what would he do to win?
What?
How does he win in your eyes?
All right, just I don't want to give you a whole spiel on his past, but there was a time where he was almost out of the UFC after he lost to Paul Felder. He lost his last three of his.
You know the comeback story of Oliveira. How does he beat Islam in today's world?
Even if he keeps it striking, it still might be a tough fight for him to win. But at least he has to be successful in that. And I truly do believe Oliveira's power in as far as in the lightweight division is still a little bit underestimated. Look what he did to Beneil. Beneil was supposed to be the future. Beneil, before losing to Oliveira, was on a crazy win streak. He was on about 8 to 9 fight winning streak before he lost to Oliveira, and Oliveira got him out of there in the first round. I'm just saying, if he's able to let's say keep it standing for the first 2 rounds and doesn't get winded, I can see him pulling it off.
The fact that you say Beneil was supposed to be the future, nobody believes that. People just felt bad because he deserved the shot. For people that felt convicted of him being the future, nobody ever said that. They just felt bad because he won a bunch and he deserves a shot. But not like this guy's the future and he's gonna take the UFC to the next level. Nobody ever felt that. I would give Oliveira that before Beneil. That's wild.
Gamrot was supposed to be next up, and what happened? Beneil stopped that train. Beneil also beat Ferguson. Beneil was on a tear at one point.
Felt like
and
he was the future.
His jiu-jitsu was good. Okay, but besides Oliveira, Beneil was one of those fighters that most people were saying, like, if anybody has a chance against Makhachev, it'll be Beneil. I think people were arguing that a bit. No?
Okay, maybe whatever weird Discord you're in. I never heard that.
That's crazy.
That's top of my algorithm.
That's
Islam Makhachev never popped up in my algorithm ever.
Wow, Oliveira. Let's quickly look up something real quick. Oliveira versus Makhachev. I want to see what the 2 early odds are. Let's see. Oliveira versus Makhachev odds have the Russian as a 3 to 1, a little bit better, a minus 334.
That's disrespectful to Islam.
You think it should be even more? Wow.
Yeah. Like minus 600.
I think minus 600 would have been disrespectful to Oliveira. Bro, he's had really bad losses and will come back and win. What's up, Chad? Welcome to the stream. David says, before Ryan fought Tank, he fought some bottom-listed guy. Ryan has a lot of potential, Canelo said himself, but trying to be popular is stealing his mindset from boxing. That might very well be the case as far as he might be more focused on his popularity than the boxing himself. Listen, I feel strongly about Oliveira getting the job done. Maybe we could talk about that.
Activation clause and agreeing to that was a downfall of Ryan's loss. You look at the whole thing there. Tank knew what he was doing. Tank knew adding that 10-pound rehydration clause was going to screw that little boy over. And guess what took him out? A body shot. And then isn't that convenient that the guy is drained and then he gets a body shot and he gets taken out that way. He didn't get taken out by a headshot or nothing like that. So you weight drain him and attack him to the body. Nice tactic. And of course, his rookie ass wanted, I'll fight anybody. I'll do anything for this fight. He accepted those terms. Yeah, that's on him. But to say all that, this guy's wilding.
Yeah, to accept the weight drain. I mean, he did what he had to do to make the fight happen. So we got to give him credit. And maybe, hopefully, we are heading into a time where boxing is not so much you lose once, you have no chance. At the end of the day, he has speed and power. The technical aspect, I think that could still be worked on. But he does have pretty impressive knockout punching power and speed. So we'll see what happens. As far as Oliveira, we could talk about that maybe a little bit more tonight, bro. Yeah. Hollywood. I feel strong, bro. Oliveira's gonna surprise the match. And we didn't even bring up as well either. I think a strong point too. This has been like the year of the upsets. Duplessis, Strickland. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other fights as well too. This has been like the year of upsets. Why not Oliveira if we could add him to that list before the year ends?
I feel you, buddy. I feel you. I love your enthusiasm. It's great. It's cute.
That's crazy.
Tell you.
That's that. Listen.
If it's delusional.
Any last thoughts before you get out of here as far as Oliveira and Makhachev or boxing in general?
Yeah, no, like you guys gotta stop hating on Ryan. You know, guy's a good boxer. Still a lot of room to grow. And you know, don't be mad because he's doing what your favorite boxer can is promote himself. You know, sorry your favorite boxer is dry and boring. You fall asleep during his fights or his press conferences and all that stuff. Yeah.
The disrespect.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. I'll see you.
Much love, Hito609 with the call and the bold points, the bold arguments that he had today, as far as who would win between Oliveira and Makhachev, and how that conversation continued. Respect to him. I give credit for the bold takes. I just think he's wrong. I just think that Oliveira does have a legit chance tonight in getting the job done. Also, guys, I want to quickly say thank you for helping us get to 8,000 subscribers. I believe we're at 8,037, 8,038, something along those lines. 8,037. So that feels amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we came from not many subscribers from the bottom up, and then slowly but surely we were increasing the numbers, and we are at a whopping 8,037. Tonight we'll be doing another live stream. We did a vlog about going and seeing some live fights that we went over to Massachusetts, so Wilmington, and it was a fun experience. Now, a fun thing that we wanted to try was kind of doing a reaction to the vlog and maybe giving you guys some in and out of what happened that day as well too, some behind the scenes. So we'll be doing a reaction to that vlog tonight. We'll also be highlighting UFC fighter that we think might be next up that we weren't able to talk about as well too. Michael Mack in the building, DC Fight Club member with a silver glove. And we'll also talk about some behind the scenes stuff that I want to talk about even more so, like there's some UFC fighters that I want to reach out to that I might start spam mailing. We want to do more live interviews. We did the Duma, we did the Cupcakes, we did the Alex Caceres interview. We want to do some more, and I think we could bring a unique aspect of asking some good questions. Michael Mack in the building. How are you doing today? How did you feel about Canelo and Charlo? Michael Mack will be intrigued to hear what you have to say. But nonetheless, I feel that we have covered, for the most part, everything that we wanted to cover. We started a little bit later today as far as 11:30 instead of 11, which was, yeah, you just missed me correcting Miller as usual. Wow.
Shout the season, man.
Michael Mack don't pay Hito no mind. He just says things without any verifiable proof or evidence behind it. Canelo gets the job done. If you're just tuning in, if you're just getting in here, Canelo gets the job done against Charlo. Is he the face of boxing? Maybe I have a clickbaity video coming up next on whether he's the best fighter of our generation. That isn't another argument as well too. Do I disagree with that? Be on the lookout. I'm gonna be working on that maybe later tonight. Michael Mack says Canelo for life. Canelo is a legend and a DC Fight Club member. We gotta show him. We gotta show him some praise. Show him some love. And the infamous soundtrack. Steve Williams comes through and says, "Keep putting in work." Steve, to address you directly. First, I want to say thank you for supporting me thus far. I'm excited for the future, man. If we could just quickly have a little fun and talk something other, because I don't want it to be so much by the book. 1 second. a brother gets tired, and I don't know if I look like I shrunk or just the whole zoomed out look looks normal. Maybe I'm not in the middle, blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, let me just sit down and just have a little fun with the stream as well, too. We've hit 8,000 subscribers. You've been rocking out with me for a minute, for quite a while. One second. I don't know if this camera angle is okay, but it just feels a little better just to try to fix a little bit. The journey, guys, just a little bit of, almost like what we would do in a member stream. Thank you so much, Steve, for saying to keep putting are you standing or sitting? The disrespect, guys. The disrespect is just, it just needs to stop. Steve, thank you again for the ongoing support. What I was going to say before we were really interrupted by Hito is that, man. Let me see where analytics. Here we go. This is where we are. This is where we are currently. 8,037 subscribers. It feels damn good to get to that point. Steve might have been here since like the 3000s. I believe if I'm not mistaken, Hito maybe since around the 4,000 or 5,000s. Michael Mack or maybe around the 3 as well too. Ricardo Rosario, welcome to the stream, my guy. Thank you so much for coming through. We're just having a little chat about the YouTube stuff. If you have any questions on the YouTube stuff as well, guys, you guys let me know. I don't mind at all. Kind of just having a nice little behind the scenes talking to you guys about a longer stream. We have Mondays off thanks to you guys as far as being able to make content. So we're here now. And the first things on my mind, I will say 15K by 2024. That's going to be tough to get that, to get there, Ricky. Appreciate you coming through. That's going to be tough. If I could get to 10K, I'll be elated. I will be excited. I will be happy. 15K, I'll take it. We're going to keep putting in the work. I have some ideas for some videos. Let me get transparent and honest with you guys. Right now, just to give you a little bit behind the scenes, we spoke enough about the fight game as of now. With YouTube, if anybody's interested in these topics, feel free to ask questions or just anything random. With YouTube, I have realized, I've been doing my research as well too, that the formula to Patty will get you there. Stop it. The formula to get there, to increase the viewership, to increase the numbers. There seems to be like a formula to get there, right? There seems to be a formula to get there. The people that are successful are highly entertaining, keep your attention, are unique, are creative, and just do certain things editing wise, and you have to stand out in a niche market. I feel that we're finding our identity and we're finding our way into standing out compared to others. As far as the MMA scene, the boxing scene, it's so mainstream media wise. Like they have the clickbaity questions and the talking points and the debates. We bring something different, and then we also have the commentating as well too. That makes it quite interesting as well. So now that we're adding the shorts, our last short, I don't mind sharing. Let me see if I could maybe give you guys a little bit of insight without showing too much analytics overview right now, content wise. Does this show too much? This doesn't show anything about monetarily what we're doing, right? In the month of September, we have new viewers, shorts 41,000, live stream 15K, videos 2.2K. This number I haven't worked hard on, and that's why the numbers are so low, but relatively to the shorts and the live stream. One of my goals is to get this to 10K in the month of October. So we'll see if we get there. I want to get 10K views on videos, because we've been doing the shorts, we've been doing the live stream. Once we grow the audience as far as watching videos, that's where I think we were going to be able to kind of excel, and the subscriber views will skyrocket, right? Let me see. Yeah, because you look at the shorts. These are the numbers for the shorts. These are the numbers for the live, the impression click-through rate. Look at the impressions, 156,000. The shorts, 96,000. But then we go over to videos, and it's 53.9K, only 3.5K views. We got to maybe do better in the thumbnail department. We got to do better in hooking them in the first 5 to 10 seconds. I'm learning all of this, doing my research. Nonetheless, it's going to be an interesting end of fourth quarter of 2023, and especially heading into 2024. I truly can't wait to share insights with you guys and just ideas. But the numbers are growing on TikTok and Instagram exponentially. Can I bring that up on let's see if I could bring that up on desktop as well too, to kind of and Hito, if you don't mind, let me know how this view looks as far as aesthetics. As far as Instagram, look, we got 544, 671, then 6,000, then 2,000 after dropping a little bit. But the last short was 16.3K. We are finding ways to get more views in almost every platform. We're doing that on TikTok as well too. I am highly motivated to really grow the stream on YouTube. So Ricky says 15K by 2024. Listen, if you're right, I'm going to give you all the credit. I would love to even get to 10K, maybe even to 9K before the year ends. We got a few months, which is encouraging. Let's see. Just keep going to the goal and he will get you there, says Hito. He's referring to Dana White. Yes, when Garcia versus Campbell, that body shot, you had 3K subs. Wow. What was the date on that, Luke? Campbell versus... Right, I appreciate that stat that you gave. How long ago was that? That was 2021. Now we're at 8K. That's crazy. So we're growing. You should be on the 100K plus, says William Hung. Appreciate that. Talk more trash. Worked for Trump, says William. We got some interesting on the ideas on how to keep growing the stream. So stay tuned for that. William Hung, because we got some ideas. Michael Mack says, on the day of a big commentary, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, because I'm looking forward to kind of just having some debates and having or just answering some. You guys might have some intrigue or curious about what happens behind the scenes as far as creating content. Feel free to ask. Michael Mack says, on the day of a big commentary, give a minimum 12-hour notice for those who don't know us yet, but may have a better chance to see what's coming soon. Should I start an email list, Michael Mack? Because some people tell me that as well too. I didn't know you were going live. You don't come up on my algorithm. I don't know like why that might be the case, but it does happen. Michael Mack, let me know. Let me know if that helps. Maybe an email list. Let me write that down in my You know, brother might be on the older side when he has the this is how I like writing ideas and notes down on a little handy dandy notebook instead of like online. And then look what the daughter did to it this morning. She put a bunch of stickers and is drawing some crazy stuff. So it feels good to have kids, man. But let me write that down. Email list ? We're getting into the nitty gritty things. Email list ? Maybe, of course, Hito could help me with that as well too, since he helps me with so much already. Also, on speaking on Ryan, isn't he in your intro song? He is. When he lands the body shot against Campbell, actually, as well too. To what Steve Williams was referring to. William Hung says, and if connection out of North Korea wasn't, you will have. If connection out of North Korea wasn't legal, you will have millions of subscribers. Unfortunately, our fearless leader doesn't allow us to even have any freedom. Jeez, man, what's going on over there? I'm a little bit hesitant to get too political because who knows what happens on YouTube, but it's just sad, right? Even on this platform, there's certain things you can't say, like wearing what we had to before that you had to cover, if you know what I mean. There have been times where I've mentioned the face protection that you had to wear and how that video will get demonetized. So YouTube is an interesting place where maybe I should be worrying about making an email list and other factors in order to keep people intrigued or just to keep them knowing on what's going on. And we started the live stream today. I believe it was at 11:30. But maybe a later time as well might be more engaging or helpful to viewers. So I will do that, but I'm gonna get off soon. But just wanted to give a little bit of time before getting out of here. As far as if you guys have any, this is kind of like a Tim the Tap Man view, which I kind of like. We might mess around and go with this. We'll see. But if you guys have any questions, let me know before I get out of here. Where is the face of boxing in your intro? That's only because the intro is old, Hito, but maybe you're making me realize that I need to put the face of boxing, that being Canelo Alvarez or Tank, in the intro, kind of update it. It's been a while. I think 12 p.m. is a ticket. Maybe that's the way to go. I have the wife calling me as well, too. Let me make sure she's good. Give me 1 second. We're being super unprofessional. What's up, babe?
Downstairs.
You know,
so focused.
You know what's funny? You want to hear something funny? I'm live on stream right now, and they hear you because I put the phone by the mic. you want to say hi to anybody or tell them to subscribe? Say it again. That's crazy. That's crazy. The disrespect. Whatever you want to pick up will be great. I'm gonna work on some content. The wife was nice enough to leave. This is so random. The wife was not nice enough to take the kids out so I could stay focused in the basement just for us guys. So shout out to her. What are you thinking? What about Chick-fil-A?
That's why I was asking. You want Chick-fil-A?
Let's do it. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Chicken flavor one?
That'll be incredible. That'll be incredible.
Right. I love you.
I love you too. Bye. And she's not just being nice because we're live on stream. She's actually usually like that. Surprisingly, right? We had a great time with some friends yesterday as well too. So I was busy, wasn't able to work on content as much. But man, talk about random. Talk about having good friends, right? Like I had such a good time. I'm in mentally in a really great place. We hung out with another couple. We went to church, and then we saw the Eagles game, which was a nail biter. I don't know if you guys saw that as well too. That game was a nail biter. That being the Washington Commanders. I'm so used to calling them the Redskins. The Commanders versus the Eagles was a close game. And we watched the game. We ordered some Japanese food. There's a great Japanese spot near us. We ordered some sushi, some General Tso. I think 12 p.m. is a ticket as well too, Hito. Some General Tso. We watched the game. We talked a long time. We heard about their love story and all that. All that to say, it was a great time, and I feel like in a good mental space. And now that where I'm about to sign off, I'm gonna start working on some. Content. I think my next one will be, if I could give you guys some insight. Let me see where it is real quick in my notes list. Joe Rogan on Charles Oliveira and whether he has a chance, and Canelo maybe going down the path of being the greatest of all time. That's a little bit clickbaity. We'll see what happens. I made friends with a person and I still regret it. To this day. The wildness on that one, man, as well too. Well, yeah, I guess we were at 3K to what Steve said when it was Luke Campbell. We're at 8K, maybe 10K before the year. What do you guys think? What are we in? October 2nd? We have October, November, December. We have 3 months. Can we get to 10K? Ricky says 15K. That's optimistic. That's aiming high. I'm gonna say 10K. Do we get there until? Keep building, they will come. The crazy thing is, I was talking to a friend called Beta. I forget the name of the movie, but there's a quote that says, "If you book them, they will come." And it talks about just booking bands and the fans will arrive, and it relates to your message. But yes, keep building, they will come. I'm having so much fun with the shorts. At least I'm having so much fun with the shorts and making that content. I'm having fun with the live streams, the live commentaries, and we're doing great numbers. We hit 14,000 views on the last live commentary, which was Saturday, which was more than what we've done in a really long time. So I'm having so much fun with the live stream, so much fun with the shorts. If I start having so much fun with the video content, the longer form content, the 3 to 8 minute videos, we find a way to have a good formula to make good content there, we'll get to 10K before the year ends. Let's shoot for that. If you guys could share the channel to anybody, that'll help as well too. If you guys have any ideas, that'll help. That'll help as far as the creativity aspect. There's a Twitter, the IG. If you want to become a member today, if you're not already, even though I think most people in the chat are members. But let's get out of here. Let's lock in on making some content. We'll be live tonight. We'll be doing a reference to building a church. Oh, gotcha. Keep building, they will come. Yeah, the reference that I was talking about was a movie. I forget from where, but it relates to that. But I'm sure it also applies to building a church as well too. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something and I lost my train of thought. Oh, tonight, if you guys are interested in kind of thinking about the behind the scenes stuff as far as YouTube, I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about that in a little bit. That'll be tonight, where we'll be rewatching the video, giving you guys some in and outs as far as what happens behind the scenes, as far as interviewing fighters and making vlog content. And then we'll be kind of featuring a fighter on who I think will be next and coming that fights in a preliminary card. We kind of want to just switch it up a little bit. So we'll be doing that. Nonetheless, guys, thank you guys for coming through. We've been live long enough. I'll see you guys in a bit. I would say that will be at 7 p.m. tonight. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe a little later, maybe 7:30. Be on the lookout for that. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. My last and final questions to you guys is Canelo the face of boxing? Keep this in mind. Is Canelo the face of boxing? Does Oliveira have a chance? And will we hit 10K or 15K before the year ends? So maybe we'll have that ongoing debate later tonight. God bless. Good night. #1 commentary channel on YouTube. See you later. Peace.
I'm the best ever. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
Yo, bounce guy, go off.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champions of the he wants.
Wilder's in a world of trouble, closing seconds. Can he weather the storm here in the third round?
And the ball is superlative.
A fight.
Khabib Nurmagomedov gets a triangle choke from up top. Gaethje's out, and the fight is over. The triangle choke for Khabib Nurmagomedov.
And Porter gets knocked down. He gets knocked down again.